Welcome to another edition of the Watchful Citizen, a local access program brought to you by the Lancaster County Democratic Party. I'm your host, Jane Egan. My guest today is Lincoln City Council candidate Bennie Shobe. Welcome to the show, Bennie.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
Well, thank you for taking the time out of a very busy schedule to join with us and the viewers.
More than happy to do it. This is important to me.
Yes, and you've been here before. You've been a behind-the-scenes guy, and you've also been a previous host.
Sat on both sides of the table.
You have. This is going to be fun.
A little anxious, but loving it.
So why don't we start off by telling our viewers a little bit about your background and why you are running for the City Council.
Sure, I would appreciate the opportunity to do that. First off, I grew up in a place called Kentucky. I'm from Kentucky. I moved to Nebraska to go to graduate school and fell in love with the community and just didn't move back. I was born a Kentuckian, but I'm a Nebraskan by choice. I choose to be here. I love this community. I want to be a part of this community. And that leads to the reason why I'm running for City Council. Since I want to be a part of the community, I've tried to become more involved, do volunteerism. I've joined a few boards and I've joined a few organizations, and every chance I get, I try to do something to make our community better. Joining the City Council, adding to the voices that are on the City Council would be the next logical step for me to be able to contribute to my community.
So tell us a little bit about some of the organizations that you have volunteered for lately.
Sure. I currently serve on the board of the Lincoln Commission on Human Rights. That's a city organization that looks at violations of housing, employment, and service discrimination in our community. If someone feels like they've been aggrieved, they can ask the Commission on Human Rights to do an investigation, and we go out and ask both parties, do lots of interviews, and determine whether there's been a violation of someone's civil rights. I served as chair of that for 2 years. I've been on the commission since 2012. And I just ended my chairship in December of 16. But I still serve. We meet once a month. We handle about 10 to 15 cases a month of some form of discrimination. Usually they end up with a predetermination settlement where we interview everybody, everyone realizes something wasn't quite fair, but it becomes a learning process. It's a great way for business owners or service providers to compromise. Compromise is not a dirty word, and we work on that. I also serve as just recent past president of the Lincoln Branch NAACP. I serve as secretary for the Indian Center Board Incorporated, and I'm on the Lux Arts Gallery Board and the Malone Community Center Board now. I've been on some other boards in the past, and I'm having a great time. This is a wonderful community, and I like being here, and I like being involved.
Great. Well, it sounds like you've got great background and preparation for City Council work.
I am lucky that I have been able to serve on these boards, and I enjoy doing it. And it gives me a chance to get in contact with the residents of our community. I spend a lot of time talking to people who live here. And the thing I'm hearing most now is people are concerned about their property evaluations, which is really a county tax issue. But there are things the city can do to help stabilize our tax base. And as a member of the City Council, I look forward to exploring what tools are available and making that happen.
Okay. So what are some of the other issues that concern you the most that you would like to tackle if you are elected to the City Council?
Well, the first thing I really want to talk about, and thank you for asking that question, is the City Council has done a great job with our community. We have a low unemployment rate, a low crime rate, the economy is good. And the City Council people that have been good stewards of our community. But often when I go to City Council meetings or watch them on public access TV, I wonder who's speaking for working families and people who are not business owners or community members in a different way. I think I would love to, when I'm elected, serve as a voice for other populations that aren't included in the decision-making process. The City Council does a great job now. I think adding a different voice, a voice for working people and other marginalized populations would be good. It would increase, it would give us a chance to make the good life available to all residents of the city. So I'd like to talk about working families and issues in the decision-making process.
So you have a campaign.
I do.
What is your campaign doing to reach out to voters and letting them know where you are on the issues and asking them what their issues are?
Yes, that's a tough one because it's an at-large race. There are, as you know, 7 city council seats. 4 are assigned by districts, 3 are assigned at large. And this election cycle, we're running the at-large races. So I'm running for an option to represent all the citizens in all 4 districts. I'll need votes from all the citizens in all 4 districts. So I have the help of some really smart people, and we're doing some phone banking. We are calling on Wednesdays and Thursday nights, Saturdays and Sunday afternoons. And I'm also walking door to door. And we had a couple good weeks of weather in February. That was helpful.
Yes, we did.
It's a little tougher now, but I'm still going to door in the afternoons after work and on weekends and knocking on residents' doors and telling them why I want to be a city councilman, and then asking them what they want to hear. I want to know what their issues are. So
And
I'm
what are you
asking that
hearing
question.
from them, Benny? Are they able to articulate at this point what city issues they're concerned about?
Yeah, as I said earlier, they're a little worried about taxes, and we do have a small conversation saying the property tax assessment is done on a county level, but the city does some taxing based on property taxes. And we talk a lot about housing in the community. There's been some research to suggest that Lincoln has a very tight housing market, which is leading to houses not staying on the market very long, which is kind of inflating the price. It's good if you want to sell your house, you have good equity in it, but if you want to pay your property taxes, they seem to fluctuate quite a bit from year to year, and almost always on the increase. There have been a few times they went down, but mostly they've increased. I think the city council can do things to encourage the development of more affordable housing in our community. That would help stabilize the tax base. A couple weeks ago, they introduced a pilot program to help residents stay in red tagged homes. The city of Lincoln.
Okay.
Let me do that again. A couple weeks ago, the city of Lincoln introduced a pilot program to help residents stay in red tagged homes. Those are homes that are deemed uninhabitable by the city for some policy violation or code. And there's some money available they can help residents go in and bring their houses back up to standards. It's a pilot program. We're going to see if that works. I think there are probably other tools in the city's toolbox that can help encourage a development of housing in existing neighborhoods.
So you would support that kind of
I would support
initiative
that.
to keep people in their homes and help get it
There are
fixed up?
several neighborhood associations spread out throughout our city, and there's a neighborhood revitalization plan. There's a 40-year plan in place in the city now.
It's called a comprehensive plan?
It's a little bit different. It's more of a
different than
neighborhood.
that?
Yes, it kind of comes from the neighborhood associations and was presented to the city. The city tries to meet their needs as much as they possible. I would like to focus a little bit more attention on that. Existing neighborhoods are the core of our city, and that's where people do their living, and those become good consumers and good citizens. And I want the city to show those neighborhoods a little love too.
So let's expand on that just a little bit. We do have core neighborhoods, but we also have expansion. And I've read recently that the housing stock is only about down to 600 right now for homes that are currently on the market. And so they are seeking, developers are seeking lands outside, or at least, outside of the core of the city. How do you feel about sprawl? Urban sprawl is really what we should call it, because that's what it is.
The urban sprawl sounds like a negative term, but
does.
It's outward growth.
It's out. Yeah.
Currently, the city has a plan where with that outward growth comes outward infrastructure building, sewers, water lines, roads. Those things are expensive. We have in the past charged impact fees to developers to cover the cost of that. In the last few years, the city's looked at more developing upward, making more denser living situations and circumstances, housing available in the core of the city and going up. We've seen an increase in student housing and a lot more residential housing in the core part of the city. I think there needs to be a mix. We can't just rely on one or the other. We've done a good job moving toward higher density, and that outward migration is going to cost us some infrastructure. We just need to try to encourage it slowly so it doesn't grow faster than our infrastructure. Putting in new roads and sewers and water is also going to cost money, which will tap into our tax base. So we need to look at some more public-private partnerships on where we develop housing, work with that density issue, getting more people per square mile. And it just needs to be a nice balance. Again, the word I mentioned earlier, compromise. It's not one fix or another. It's going to be a mix of a lot of different fixes. And once elected, I look forward to working with all the other members of the City Council to come to a compromise that serves all the residents of our community. Compromise is not a dirty word.
No, it is not. I agree. And going back to the older neighborhoods, the infrastructure, in the last couple of years, we've had some pretty heavy downpours that have caused some flooding in the older neighborhoods. So our infrastructure is aging, and yet we have this need for outgrowth. Again, there needs to be a balance there. Can you kind of tell me a little bit about where you are on maybe replacing the older infrastructure, and does the city have a plan for that in place now?
The city does have a plan for that in place now, and I want to talk about older neighborhoods with streets and sidewalks in older neighborhoods. There's a plan in place for the city, and it's also budget based. It's contingent on how much money we have in the budget to do those things. And I look forward to talking with people and seeing how we can accelerate that plan to replace it. We're luckier than our neighbor city, Omaha, which has seen some water main breaks and some sewer line breaks because their infrastructure is a little older. But the city's done a good job of trying to stay ahead of it or trying to stay on top of it. I think there's some opportunities for residents in the community to weigh in on the decision-making process and talk about how we want to do it, how we can do it more efficiently. I would like to be one of those people that has those conversations. Let's talk to existing neighbors and see what they need more.
Yes. You've also identified that economic growth and job creation is an important issue too in Lincoln. We do have fairly low unemployment rates
Yes.
here, but we have a lot of underemployed persons or people holding 2 to 3 lower paying jobs. Can you speak to the viewers a little bit about how you would intend to encourage economic growth and job creation?
Well, yes, I would like to. I grew up in a different state and moved here in the late 90s, and the big manufacturing base in Lincoln was kind of shrinking. Goodyear is just kind of condensed a little bit. Cushman left. We still have Kawasaki. We're a big hub for insurance and education and medical issues. But we've recently become something that people refer to us as the Silicon Prairie. We're seeing a lot of new startups and new internet age businesses. I think we can continue to work on that, but then the auxiliary businesses to supply them are great. We have an opportunity to make Lincoln a good place for investment. I talk to lots of people as I'm knocking doors, and they are a little confused about the idea of TIF financing or tax increment financing. I think there are lots of tools like that available to the city to encourage companies to come here. The big thing we hear from employers when they're coming to the city is a viable workforce. With such a low unemployment rate and most of the residents working more than one job, will new companies have the workers available? Well, through partnerships through Southeast Community College and Lincoln Public Schools, we have the new Career Academy. There are other opportunities like that for the city to encourage job training and retraining of workers. And we just need to develop a bigger workforce, a bigger, more robust workforce for the 22nd century, and then employers will be more likely to relocate here.
I agree with all of that. However, I have also seen some of these big employers take advantage of the tax increment financing, and then just about the time it's time for them to come off of that and start paying their fair share, they move to Omaha or to some other state and take the jobs with them. Is there any way to have some consequence, or I don't know if it's a carrot or a stick, but and I don't even know if you've even thought about this, but maybe speak to that a little bit to see if there's some way that we can stop that from happening.
Yeah, I have put a little thought into it, not a lot. I think you're referring to, we've had a couple of employers here in Lincoln and one big one in Omaha that received tax increment financing to build buildings and build infrastructure, which takes the property taxes off the rolls for a set number of years. Okay. And when that time period expired, they relocated. I think we need to scrutinize the use of the tax increment financing a little bit more to try to avoid that and see if there are other ways to encourage those employers to become good citizens of our community. We're offering them a tax break, we're offering them a workforce. And businesses provide both services and employment to our community, but we really want them to be good citizens of our community. Yes. And so I'm honestly not sure if there's any penalty for leaving early, or if we can actually use a stick to encourage them rather than a carrot. But I'd like to talk with employers about that before we offer those things, see how well they're investing in our community, to make sure it's not just a tax breaks and leave situation.
So we've talked about you're a voice for working families. You've got some plans for economic growth and job creation. There's a focus on neighborhoods, of course. You would also like to improve the city's transportation systems. That encompasses a big
That's a
subject.
big, yeah.
That's a big subject. So there's public transportation, and then there's roads and all that kind of stuff.
And
so.
I do say it in that firm, transportation systems, because we do have a mass transit system here in our community. We have a bus line that has recently extended its hours. It's running later in the day. But ridership is still a little low. We need to encourage more ridership there. And the other aspect of that is, the reality is we're a car culture. And people are in their cars and they're commuting to and from work, to and from shopping, to and from entertainment. And I hear from voters that moving from one side of the city to the other is not as easy as it could be. There are studies in place to look at how we can improve traffic flow. There's a long-term conversation about a South Beltway to make a south loop around the bottom of the city to speed up getting from one side to the other, and maybe moving some of the heavy truck traffic there. I think all those things need to be on the table. We need to look at a long-term strategy of moving cars and moving people to mass transit around our city.
So that's been an issue that's been with us for decades and decades. And we continue the outgrowth, which makes cars, we still need to rely on automobiles to get there. Are there other cities that you can look to that have started to at least solve this problem that might be a model for Lincoln?
First we look at Omaha. They're having similar problems with their mass transit. And Lincoln is one of those cities that's just the right size where park and rides, which you see in much larger city, drive to a metro stop or a bus stop and then ride in, work well. Lincoln is just a little too small for that, but it's growing rapidly. Lots of other cities are trying mass transit, and it's somewhat successful. The bus system will never really be profitable. It's more of a service we offer to residents, and we just need, if we increase ridership, reduce car usage, there just needs to be incentives for people to do it. Right now, it's a little challenging to ride the bus and get from one side of town to the other, but it's improving all the time. The new director deployed some new routes in November, and after a couple weeks, there were some adjustments. So the system is open to change. We have good people running it, and they want to make it more efficient, which needs to be an education process for the community. Make it a little easier to get around.
I know that there are some communities larger than Lincoln on the West Coast that are trying some new things back in Washington and Oregon.
Lincoln hasn't hit that sweet spot yet.
Yeah, we haven't.
So we have to control the growth and make it,
Right.
It's just a little too small and a little too, it's got that small town feel and wants to be a big town at the same time. It's a lovely spot, but
it's been that way a long time.
It provides some additional challenges.
Yes. You just have a few more minutes left. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers about your candidacy?
Well, I'm having fun talking to voters about the issues that are important. We've had a couple of events where we've been out in the community and had people come and talk to us, some meet and greets. I plan to continue that. We're trying to meet and greet a couple times in each one of the 4 districts and do some more at-large stuff. We have a website, Bennie for, the word for, F-O-R-L-N-K. That's Bennie for LNK, like the airport code for Lincoln. You can go there, and all our issues are outlined, the things I want to talk about, housing and transportation and growing the economy, and more details there. You can also follow us on Facebook and other social media, both Twitter and Instagram. We're posting our events and posting our contacts with voters. If you have questions, you can send that via email, too, at bennie4lnk@gmail.com.
Okay.
I'm responding to all of those. I'm looking forward to talking with more people. We have a large number of good candidates all running for those 3 at-large seats, and so the primary election will be on April 4th, and the general election on May 2nd. We're going to keep working hard to contact voters and get my message out there that I think will help Lincoln grow.
So do you need more volunteers and more donors?
Thank you. Give me a chance to catch my breath and say, I'm going to continue working hard, but I'd like your help. I can use your help. If you're interested in volunteering, we are phone banking 2 days a week, but 2 days during the week and on weekends. We're canvassing on the weekends. Please go to the website. There's a place to sign up to volunteer. I would love the help. I'd also love to talk with you as a voter to see what's interesting you.
Okay, very good.
Please need volunteers. I welcome everyone.
Donors.
And donors.
Yeah,
Donors is the harder thing to ask for.
It is.
It takes a lot of money to get my message out to people.
Yes.
So donations are also welcome. We are looking at ordering some yard signs in the next couple of weeks. So if you're interested in that, you can also go to the website and request a yard sign. And we're going to just keep plugging away, keep meeting people, keep asking. It's going to be a lot of listening. I'm going to talk about my message, but mostly I'm going to be listening to what people want to say. That's the thing I want more from the city council than anything else, is to listen to people whose voices are normally left out of the conversation.
It's a good note to end on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
I look forward
coming
to
today.
This was
Appreciate
fun.
it.
That was,
Yeah.
You made this really easy. You're good.
You did all the hard lifting here.
So far, it's been fun.
Well, I wish you the best in your campaign, and I hope that this program gets viewers'
Yes.
ability to get to know you as a candidate
Yes.
better and the issues that you're interested in. So
I'm interested in making Lincoln is a great place now, and if we all get involved, we can make it even better.
I agree. Very good. All right. Our show airs Tuesdays at 10:30 p.m., Wednesdays at 6 p.m., and Saturdays at 12:30 p.m. on cable channel 13. For more information about our program, or if you'd like to be a guest, you can contact the Lancaster County Democratic Party, and our contact information will appear on the screen at the close of the program. Thank you, Bennie Shobe, candidate for City Council. Appreciate you being here very
Jane
much.
Chair of the Lancaster County Democratic Party.
Thank you. See you next time for another edition of The Watchful Citizen.
Bye.
Bye.